What's going on, everybody? It is your boy Zamboni. I'm a musician and astrologer, and it is time to talk about the astrology of the week ahead. As always, and thank you so very much for being here. Thank you for rocking with me day after day, week after week. Super appreciate all y'all regulars, especially. Thank you so much. If you want to support this, then this has been helpful to you or something like this, you can watch this video all the way to the end. You can send it to a friend. You can send me a tip via Venmo, Cash App, PayPal. That's super helpful. Thank you so much for doing that. You can check out the podcast that I just did with DB on What Is the Time. You can check that out on wherever you get your podcasts at. That one was fun. I am having so much fun talking about that dude. We laugh so much together. It's so much fun. You can go to zambonifunk.com where you can get some merch. You can get hoodies with my face on them. You can go there and get astrology readings. You can get a 60-minute reading where we talk together. You can get a 10-minute reading where I talk to the camera and just kind of break down what's going on for you in your life, whatever I've been talking about this week, and aim that at you directly. You could go there and listen to the music. This is the cover to the music. I'm already out of time to talk about my promo stuff. Go to zambonifunk.com. Let's talk about the astrology of the week ahead. This week, a lot of things going on. We got shit changing this week. So a lot of things are happening actually today even. So there's a new moon in Pisces today. New moon in Pisces is conjunct Saturn. So it's there hanging out with Saturn together in Pisces. Saturn in Pisces has been here for a year, been like, it's been less easy to do the Saturn things when it comes to limitations, boundaries, creating order, and this kind of stuff, right? So Saturn in Pisces sort of wants to tend toward a little more melancholy, or like, if we're thinking about Saturn as being dark or black or something like this, and then also thinking about Pisces being in the deep water, the like deep recesses of the ocean and this kind of thing. Like there's something there that can be a little bit sort of sad, or can be like crushed by the weight of things. And this new moon seems like it's like feeling some of those vibes a little bit. Now, we can see that we've got sextile to both Jupiter in Taurus, who rules Pisces, and to Uranus in Taurus, who is unlikely to, Uranus doesn't abide repression. Right. And so that repression is the same as pressure. Right. And so Saturn is very much weight and pressure, and Uranus is not going to abide that shit. And especially a sextile, it's definitely going to want to look for ways around it, ways to make it work in some kind of way. So there is like a bit of hope and possibility here. But it is in that like heavy pressure space. It's like there's something here that wants to try something different, to move around in a different way, to maybe add some kind of surprise or spice to the thing in order to change things up. Now, things do get spicy this week as Mercury moves out of Pisces and into Aries. This is good for Mercury because Mercury is like moving away from Mercury's been there with Saturn for a while. Mercury's been with Neptune for a while. Both of these things are kind of anathema. They're poisonous to Mercury. Mercury's trying to like make clear, concise, sorted ideas about what is true in the world, like sort of break things down into component parts and make them intelligible. And then you get into Pisces, the deep ocean space, and it's all kind of the one soup. And then you put Neptune there, and it's like it's all the one stuff. There's no boundaries or anything like this. And this is really confusing to Mercury, right? So to see Mercury moving out of Pisces and into Aries, where things are a little drier, things are a little more concrete and simple in a way that they are just not in Pisces. This looks really good for that kind of intelligibility and understanding that Mercury tends to prefer. Of course, as Mercury moves into Aries, then we're going to see a little sextile to Pluto. So we're going to get a little shout out to some of the Pluto stuff going on here. But more important than that is looking at how Aries is ruled by Mars. And so from this point and for a little while now, because Mercury's moving super quick right at this moment. This week, Mercury's moving super quick and in Aries. This looks good for communication, for saying what's on your mind and letting it get across in a way that might be a little bit abrasive or a little bit like affronting sometimes, but is likely to be clear. But it's ruled by that Mars, and so we're likely to get a lot of that abrasion. We're likely to see a fair bit of like very in your face, ready for conflict. You know, if Mercury's the journalist, the news outlet or something like this, then we're likely to get some more Mars news, which is rough because today's the new moon in Pisces. Today is also the start of Ramadan. And so there's been some like flexing around that, you know, in the geopolitical space. And so I would expect to see more, especially since Mercury is going to be retrograde in Aries in a little bit as well. Right now, Mercury is moving super quick, but that means that Mercury is going to catch up to Chiron and the North Node fairly quickly. And both of those things, especially if we're thinking about conveying Mars messages, there's like a little bit of like extra salt in the wound or something like that that's going on here. So this is, you know, on the geopolitical scale, that's like one thing, but on the like individual scale, there's like a piece here around being upfront about things, and also maybe receiving criticism in some kind of way. It's possible that others are going to be in your face about whatever's going on, and it's possible that some of those especially sharp points, they might be right sometimes, you know? And so it's going to be worth being with that and like sort of getting, you know, especially since we can see the other thing that we got going on this week is Venus is going to move out of Aquarius and into Pisces. This looks really good for Venus from an essential dignity standpoint. Venus in Aquarius is fine. You know, like this isn't a super tough position for Venus, except that Pluto is there in Aquarius and Mars is there in Aquarius. And so there's been a bunch of malefics all over Venus's mode. Venus is trying to do stuff, and there's a bunch of Mars and Pluto in there. So to see Venus moving out of that space and into Pisces, where Venus is exalted, Venus is very good at doing the Venus things, the sort of like lavish, everything is delicious, and oh, there's just so much sensual delight to be had with Venus and Pisces. Love to see that. But you know who else is here in Pisces? Saturn is here in Pisces. It's Saturn's job to say no to things. It's Saturn's job to put up limitations or boundaries, to negate, to deny, all that sort of stuff, right? So to see Venus moving into Pisces looks like Venus wants so badly to cooperate and bring harmony, especially as a result of pleasure. We can dine and enjoy together. Oh, doesn't it sound? But then Saturn's like, what about the rules? Or what about, here's the reasons why it'll never work, or here's, you know, like all that kind of thing. I was thinking about this a little bit earlier, and I was like, well, this might be a good time to bond and connect with your friends over complaints, right? To like get together and complain about shit that you hate together. And that can be a good way to like build relationships. And so the Venus bit does look like it could be useful in that regard. But, you know, with Venus, so the pleasure principle is a lot of times the way that I like to think about Venus. And there's just not very much pleasure that's possible whenever we see Venus with Saturn. Sometimes, you know, or it can get like kinky or something like this, you know what I mean? Like ropes and bondage, and like there's a sense of like you learn to love the rope. When you can't move anymore, then you like find ways to love that. And so that's totally possible here. And you can find the pleasure in the limitations and boundaries, right? There's a lot of folks who know how to do that. But we're not looking at super like simple, straightforward, like, oh, it's a chocolate cake and it's delicious sort of stuff that we tend to prefer when we see Venus in Pisces. So with that kind of difficulty going on, then when we think about the kind of messages that Mercury is likely to be out communicating and telling the world about, then things look a little bit rough here. And it looks like you know, this is a very good time to be a little hard on yourself and your craft, especially if you're thinking about trying to move up or out or get out into the world and improve in some kind of way. That's all my time.